They say betrayal cuts deepest when it comes from those closest to you. I never thought much about that until the day my twin brother shattered the world I had built with my own hands. It wasn't the kind of betrayal you can prepare for, not the kind you see coming in a poorly written drama. It was the kind that slithers its way into your life, hidden in shared laughter and trusted silences, until it strikes. I still remember the way the sun filtered through the blinds that morning, painting stripes across the wooden floor of the apartment we used to share. I was alone in the kitchen, sipping coffee, when his text came through, "We need to talk. I've done something I can't undo." I couldn't know then how that message would unravel the threads of trust, family, and love in a way I would never forget. My name is Rachel, and I'm 31 years old. For as long as I can remember, my twin brother Ryan has been my mirror, not just in looks but in spirit. We grew up as a team, finishing each other's sentences and standing as each other's fiercest advocates. Our bond was our fortress, and I never imagined it could crumble. 3 years ago, I married the love of my life, Ethan. He was kind, dependable, and everything I thought I needed. Ryan and Ethan got along well, too, which felt like a dream come true. Ryan was even Ethan's best man at our wedding, delivering a speech that had everyone in tears. It was the kind of moment you replay in your head during hard times, to remind yourself that love and family can weather anything. Ryan and I had always been close, but adulthood had pulled us in different directions. After college, he traveled the world, chasing his dreams of being a photojournalist, while I stayed back in our hometown, building a life with Ethan. When Ryan returned last year, he moved into an apartment just a few blocks away. It was like picking up where we'd left off, the kind of sibling bond that felt unshakable despite the distance and years. Ethan and I had our routines, weeknight dinners, lazy weekends on the couch, and the occasional date night. Ryan became a part of that rhythm, joining us for meals or impromptu hangouts. It felt like the family I had always wanted. But looking back, there were cracks I chose not to see. The glances that lingered a beat too long, the subtle shifts in energy when Ryan and Ethan were in the same room, and the excuses Ethan started to make for being late or absent. At the time, I chalked it up to work stress or my own insecurities. Our apartment was warm and inviting, filled with hand-me-down furniture and personal touches, a gallery wall of Ryan's photography, Ethan's vinyl collection, and the plant corner I had painstakingly curated. It smelled of cinnamon from the candle I always kept burning, a small comfort in a life I thought was stable. Then came the text, "We need to talk. I've done something I can't undo." My stomach dropped as I read it. Ryan never spoke in riddles. His words had weight, and I knew this wasn't something trivial. Still, I couldn't prepare for what he was about to confess, or the way it would change everything I thought I knew about him, Ethan, and myself. I stared at Ryan's text for what felt like an eternity, my coffee growing cold in my hands. What could he have done? My heart pounded as I typed back a response. "What's going on? You're scaring me." His reply came quickly. "Can you come over? I need to tell you in person." The short walk to his apartment felt like trudging through quicksand. My mind raced with possibilities. Was he in trouble? Had he done something illegal? Every scenario I imagined seemed worse than the last. When I arrived, Ryan was pacing in his living room, his usually calm demeanor replaced by visible agitation. His hair was disheveled, and he looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Ryan," I said, stepping inside, "what's going on? You're freaking me out." He didn't look at me right away, instead rubbing his hands together like he was trying to warm them up. "Rachel, I need you to sit down." "Just tell me," I said, my voice sharper than I intended. He finally met my eyes, and what I saw in them made my stomach twist. "Guilt." "It's Ethan," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. My heart stopped. "What about Ethan?" Ryan took a deep breath, and his words came out in a rush. "It started a few months ago. I didn't mean for it to happen. It just did." For a moment, I couldn't process what he was saying. "What happened, Ryan?" He hesitated, and in that silence, the truth began to take shape in my mind. My voice trembled as I asked, Did you sleep with him?" Ryan flinched like I'd struck him. "No. God, no. But it doesn't matter. We kissed. It happened more than once. And his voice broke. I fell for him, Rachel. And I know, he feels something for me too. The air left my lungs in a rush. Are you telling me my husband has been with you? My voice cracked on the last word, disbelief mixing with the first sparks of anger. Ryan stepped closer, his hands raised like he could physically contain the damage he'd done. Rachel, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. I didn't want to hurt you. I staggered back, needing space to think, to breathe. You didn't want to hurt me? Ryan, you've destroyed me. You've destroyed us. How could you? How could he? My words caught in my throat, a sob rising to take their place. Ryan reached for me, but I backed away. Don't, I said, my voice shaking. Don't touch me. The room felt suffocating, every piece of furniture suddenly foreign and mocking. I thought of Ethan's smile, the way he'd hold my hand during movies, the life we'd built together. And now, all I could see was him with Ryan, my twin, my other half. How long? I asked, my voice cold. Ryan hesitated. It started after that night we all went out for drinks. The night Ethan and I stayed up talking after you went to bed. I pressed my hands to my temples, trying to piece together the timeline. That had been months ago. Months of lies, stolen moments, and betrayal hidden in plain sight. Does he love you? I asked, my voice hollow. Ryan didn't answer right away. I don't know. He says he loves you, but the way he looks at me... I couldn't listen anymore. You have to tell him it's over. Whatever this is, it ends now. You owe me that much. Ryan nodded, tears streaming down his face. I'll end it. I promise. But promises felt like ash in my mouth. The man I trusted most in the world had betrayed me. The man I loved had betrayed me. And I didn't know which betrayal cut deeper. As I walked home, my thoughts were a chaotic swirl of anger, sadness, and confusion. I didn't know what I would say to Ethan, or if I could even face him. But one thing was certain, this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. I barely slept that night. My mind replayed Ryan's confession over and over, a loop of betrayal that wouldn't stop. Ethan came home late, the scent of his cologne lingering in the air as he stepped into the bedroom. I watched him from the bed, my heart pounding with a mix of dread and fury. You're still up? He asked, his voice casual, as if nothing had changed. I sat up, the words spilling out before I could stop them. We need to talk. Ethan froze, his hand midway through loosening his tie. What's wrong? I took a deep breath, forcing my voice to stay steady. Ryan told me everything. About the two of you. His face went pale, the color draining so quickly I thought he might faint. For a moment, the room was so silent I could hear my own heartbeat. Rachel, he began, but I cut him off. Don't lie to me, Ethan. Just tell me the truth. How long has this been going on? He sank into the armchair across the room, his head in his hands. I didn't mean for it to happen. I swear to you I didn't. Stop saying that, I snapped. You did mean for it to happen. You made a choice. Over and over again you chose him. Not me. His shoulders sagged, and when he looked up, his eyes were glassy with unshed tears. I love you, Rachel. I never stopped loving you. Then why? My voice broke, the pain spilling out in every syllable. Why would you do this to me? To us. Ethan took a deep breath, his hands gripping the edge of the chair like it was the only thing keeping him grounded. It started innocently. Ryan and I were just talking that night, and... I don't know. We connected in a way I didn't expect. It was confusing, but it felt... He paused, searching for the right word. It felt real. And I didn't. I asked, my voice rising. Our marriage didn't feel real to you? That's not what I mean, he said quickly. I love you, Rachel. I've always loved you. But with Ryan it was different. It was like seeing a part of myself I didn't know existed. I stared at him, the man I thought I knew better than anyone, and felt a wave of disgust and sorrow wash over me. Do you love him? He hesitated, and in that hesitation, I found my answer. You don't have to say it, I whispered. I already know. Ethan stood, crossing the room toward me. Rachel, please. I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose us. I stepped back, shaking my head. You already have. The moment you chose him over me, you lost us. The tears I had been holding back finally spilled over, and I let them. There was no point in hiding my pain anymore. Do you even realize what you've done? You didn't just betray me, you betrayed us. Our life, our vows, our future. And Ryan, God, he's my brother. Do you know what that does to me? To us as a family. Ethan's silence was deafening. I need time, I said finally, my voice trembling. Time to think. Time to figure out if I can ever forgive either of you. Ethan reached for me, but I stepped back again. Don't, I said, my voice firm. Not right now. As I walked out of the room, I felt like I was leaving more than just Ethan behind. I was leaving the life I had built, the trust one had once held so sacred. And for the first time in years, I wasn't sure who I was without it. Did I? In the days that followed, the silence in my apartment was deafening. Ethan stayed with a friend, giving me the space I'd asked for, but it didn't feel like enough. The echoes of our life together lingered in every corner, his slippers by the bed, his favorite mug on the counter, the wedding photo that I couldn't bring myself to take down. Ryan tried reaching out, but I ignored his calls and texts. I couldn't face him. Not yet. The idea of seeing his face so like my own made my stomach churn. How could someone who shared my blood, my history, my soul, do this to me? In the quiet, I began to question everything. Was this my fault? Had I missed something? Some sign that Ethan was slipping away? Had I leaned too hard on the idea of perfection in our marriage? Too blinded by comfort to see the cracks forming beneath the surface? But the more I thought about it, the clearer it became. This wasn't about me. This was their betrayal, their choices, and their burden to carry. I couldn't take that on, even if part of me still wanted to. A week later, I met Ryan at a coffee shop. Seeing him there, fidgeting with his cup, and looking like he hadn't slept in days, I felt an unexpected pang of pity. Despite everything, he was still my brother. I'm sorry, he said as soon as I sat down. For everything. For hurting you. I studied him, searching for something, remorse, guilt, shame. It was all there, written across his face. But what struck me most was how broken he looked. This had destroyed him, too. I don't know if I can forgive you, I said honestly. But I don't want to hate you either. You're my brother. That doesn't just go away. Ryan nodded, his eyes glistening. I'll do whatever it takes to make this right. I wasn't sure that was possible. But as I walked away, I realized I didn't need answers, not yet. Some wounds take time to heal, and some questions are better left unanswered. Life doesn't tie itself up neatly, and love is rarely simple. But as painful as betrayal is, it also forces you to see what's worth fighting for, and what you're better off letting go.